Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today, we are going to be talking about being steady, and that steady is the whole game. For most of our lives, for most of my life as well, eating has always felt like a willpower test. You know what I mean? That we were having to pay so much attention and be so strict and be so good all day. Some days we pass the test, some days we don't. And I imagine for most women, this has been going on for decades, certainly has been going on for decades in my own life. But the truth is, it's not that you were failing your willpower, you were riding a blood sugar line and it spiked and it crashed all day long. And I was doing it too. And blaming myself, blaming my character for these ups and downs throughout the day. And I'm sure because I have sat across the table from thousands of women, I know that you've probably experienced this as well. And then we tend to blame ourselves. And this is where that language comes in of I was good or I was bad. This is not about your character. If you don't know who I am, I'm Jennifer Seven, and this is the Menopause Map. I'm a holistic nutritionist, a meditation teacher. I've been a wellness coach for years. And as I mentioned before, I have sat across the table from women for over 20 years. I'm also postmenopausal, so I am on the other side of menopause, but it still affects me, this food, this blood sugar roller coaster. So I just want you to know I've lived it too. So when I talk about blaming your character for a blood sugar crash, it was me for years. And I'm going to share with you the map that I only wish had been shared with me so many years ago. Today, we're going to just talk about this concept of steadiness. This is all about the floor. And if you don't know the menopause map, we have 5 floors that we've built: food and blood sugar, sleep, strength, stress and the nervous system, and joy. Those are our 5 floors. And this week, we've been focusing on the food and blood sugar floor. And this is where we get our steadiness. So it's not about being restrictive. It's not about your willpower. It's not talking about another diet to fail. It's just a blood sugar line. And I want to dive into this a little bit. If we can make our blood sugar more steady, then the line will hold, our cravings will settle down, our energy will hold, the brain fog will lift, and that 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock reaching for something to eat will quiet, and that 9 o'clock craving will quiet. And often, this is there's a couple reasons that this happens, but one of them is that we just aren't eating enough as women. We are so into restricting. Maybe we're starting the morning with coffee. Maybe we have a bite of something for lunch, or maybe we skip lunch. And then by 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, we are crashing. Our energy is crashing and we're hungry. And so we're reaching for something to satisfy us, usually a quick fix. Or it's 9 o'clock, we feel like we've held the line, not the steady line, but we've enforced our willpower all day long, watched what we ate, which was maybe barely nothing. And then all of a sudden at 9 o'clock, we're in the kitchen starving. And then we're angry with ourselves. Why did I do that? Why am I in there? Why am I binging? It's because our blood sugar crashed. So one of the first things that I want to say is let's get some good protein in, and let's space out that protein throughout the day. If you could get some protein in every 4 hours, this is going to help with that blood sugar. And if you're finding that you're crashing at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, maybe you need a little bit more at lunch, a little more protein, a little bit more healthy carb, a little more healthy fat. Same thing if you're crashing at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Look back. What happened in the afternoon? What happened at dinner? Did we deprive ourselves? Did we eat simple sugars? What did we eat? Look at your day. But the other piece I want to talk about is the carbohydrates. We have been taught to believe that carbohydrates are bad and we should just avoid them entirely. And that's not necessarily the truth. The truth is, we need to be looking at the carbohydrates that we eat and what we eat them with. So I call it the naked carb. The naked carb is a carb eaten all by itself. Maybe it's a piece of fruit, and you're just getting this glycemic hit of sugar if you're eating your carb naked. So we want to pair our carbohydrates with something that's going to slow down the blood sugar spike. So something with fiber is a really good idea. So we want you to pair or dress your carb with something else than just eating that simple carb by itself. And when we do talk about carbohydrates, there are simple carbs and there are complex carbs. Complex carbs are really what we want to be using. And a complex carb is going to be something that has some fiber to it. And what that does is it slows the system down a little bit. It helps us to digest it more slowly. It slows down the blood sugar spike. So if we're eating those simple carbs, we're going to get that quick hit of blood sugar and then we're going to crash. So we can do that. We can eat our carbs, but if we can pair them with something that's going to help slow down that spike, then that is going to help keep you steady. So it's perhaps the opposite of what you've been told about everything the diet world sells you. I want you to stop restricting yourself and I want you to start steadying. So we've talked about the nighttime craving. And I say, if you're having that nighttime craving, look at the afternoon, look at the day. The day is going to tell you what's going to happen at night. The naked carbs are going to spike you and then they're going to drop you. But I also want you to know that it was never personal. It's chemistry, and you can steady your chemistry. So instead of restricting, let's start implementing steadying. Restricting creates the very crashes that it claims to fix. It underfeeds the day, it sends the body hunting for that fuel at night. Steadiness reverses it. Feed the day so it never crashes, dress the carb so it never spikes. It's not about cutting and grieving. You are adding and steadying. I often tell the women that I sit with, it's not about necessarily taking all of the things out of your diet. It's like let's start putting good things in that our body needs. And then if we go to those first, then we'll lose a little bit of that desire for the things that don't serve our bodies. But this is just simple. It's no meal plan, it's no grams to count, no list to obey. All of that counting leads to this feeling of this deprivation and it's breaking trust with your body. We want to rebuild that trust. We want to be listening to our body. So just two sentences, two sentences. Hi, Nisha. Thank you for being here. I'm so glad you're here. Two sentences. Remember these two sentences. Feed the day and never send a carb in alone. That is the whole studying. It's pretty simple and it's a lot kinder to your body than the deprivation. Remember, I am not a doctor. I'm a coach. This is education only. It is not medical advice. If you are managing something like diabetes, blood sugar medication, a diagnosed condition, get with your doctor, study this just alongside your doctor, not instead of them. This floor, the blood sugar and food floor, walks right beside that care. It doesn't replace it. So here we are, 5 floors. We've talked about sleep. We've talked about food and blood sugar. We've talked about strength. We've talked about the nervous system. And we've talked about joy. This week, we finished up the five by talking about our blood sugar and our protein. I want to remind you, you are not lost. You never were. You were only ever missing the map. And now, floor by floor, we're plugging the leaks, we're identifying the leaks, and we're rebuilding our floors. If this resonates with you, please like, subscribe, and share. Share this with other women who are struggling. If if you subscribe, then you'll be here for what's next, and we'll continue along these themes. Come into the community. I'll be dropping the links in the show notes. And now that you have the whole map from the last 5 weeks, we're going to start walking it together. So I hope to see you next week as we continue our journey through the menopause map, giving women the tools that they need during this transformation time. Have a wonderful day. I'm so glad you were here, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Have a good one.